10 things, no, I wish I could say 10 things, but it's actually 9 things. 9 things you should know before traveling to the Maldives. Hi everyone, my name is Thea. I'm a corporate dropout and I was a pharmacist. Now I'm a holistic wellness coach and I am traveling the world at the moment doing the digital nomad thing for the first time in my life. So I was very excited and I did some traveling. I went from North Carolina, my home base, to Boston, to New York, and then to Lisbon and Spain and England, Germany. Then I was on the way to Bali, and I had to make some pit stops because there's not a direct flight from Germany. So I stopped in the Maldives and I stopped in Singapore. And if you're interested in this kind of content, by the way, please subscribe. And also you may be interested in following me on TikTok or on Instagram because I put a ton of the travel footage there as well. Okay, so let's get into it. The Maldives. Number 1, it's kind of a pain in the ass to get to. Very far away from the United States, first of all. There's not direct flights. Well, I got a direct flight from Germany. But I say this because 1, it's already a long flight to get there. And then 2, once you get there, there's not really an easy way to get to your resort because although there's the main island, most likely your resort's not on the main island. The Maldives are like a ton of tiny little islands all over the place, spread out. So basically once you get to the main island, you get shuttled over to the Seaplane airport, and then you might have to wait there 2-3 hours or who knows how long until your plane will carry you over to your resort. And also, if you arrive into the main island later in the day, there may not be any transportation until the following day. So you might have to end up staying on the main island for a night. So that's just something to keep in mind. But if you talk to your resort, they should be able to communicate to you about how to get to their resort. So it is a long journey. Like once I got to the Maldives main airport, I went to the Seaplane airport, waited, and then I had a 40-minute flight by Seaplane to my resort. Now, I was going to say that when on the return flight by Seaplane, it was even longer because they ended up picking up other passengers from other islands. So it may even be longer than 40 minutes. So it's a very long time by the time you finally get into your room to relax. So that was number 1, pain in the ass. Number 2, going along the same lines of there's a seaplane that you have to take. Okay, let me rewind a second. Because some resorts you can get to by boat, but I guess it depends on how close your resort is to the main island. When I was talking to my resort, they said the only way you can get there is by seaplane. And I had to fly there because mine was a little bit further out than I think a lot of the other ones. Okay, so number 2 is that there are extra costs that you may not be prepared for. So I found my resort not having done much research on the Maldives before. I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to stop there and stay at a resort. It'll be fine. Well, I booked my resort, and then only after I booked it and paid for it did they message me and let me know that, I have to pay for extra transportation to get me there. And it was $205 each direction. So that's an extra $510 on top of your resort fees that you may not be aware of right away. So keep that in mind as well. Now, if you take a boat, it's probably a little bit cheaper if you're able to take a boat. All right, number 3, the Wi-Fi was Terrible. Terrible. Now, I could message people okay. So I could text message, I could get on Twitter and tweet words, and I could even send some videos, some photos. The problem was video. TikToks are pretty short, like I keep them a minute or less usually. So for less than a minute video, it took me like 4 hours to upload it. So the whole time I was there, I probably uploaded two videos, and it took me like 4 hours each. So I just I gave up on that. So I'm kind of coming back to you now after the fact and doing a recap video. Number 4, the water is beautiful. It's very shallow, so you could easily walk far out and the water still be to your knees. There's no really waves. It's very calm. It's very clear. It's pretty. It's all different kinds of shades of blue, and I learned that's because of whatever depth it is. It kind of ends up being a different shade of blue. If it's really shallow versus if it's deeper, it's a deeper color blue. Yeah, just beautiful. It's literally like a giant swimming pool because it's just so blue and it's so clear and it's so calm. So the water is amazing. Amazing. Best water ever. Okay, number 5 of things you should know before traveling to the Maldives. This is based on my experience. You may not need a travel adapter. I thought maybe I would need one for Asia or whatever type of adapter they might need, but they actually had universal adapters built in places. So at all the airports they had them, and in my resort they had them. So the USA adapter fit fine. I tested the London adapter, the England adapter, it fit fine. And I tested the European adapter, and they all fit in the wall at the resort. So you may not need an adapter. I don't think you do. But maybe it depends on the resort. I don't know. This is just based on my experience. Okay, number 6. If you are a solo traveler, be prepared that you will be the only single person there. Quite possibly. I was the only single person on my little island, which is fine. There weren't a lot of people on the island anyway, because the islands most of them are really small and maybe have one resort on them. So nobody cared. There weren't that many people there to begin with. Yeah. Just something to be aware of. Okay, next on the list, number 7. Oh, number 7 is, if it says it's an all-inclusive resort, there may be some restrictions to that. So, for example, all-inclusive meals, but it's only during certain times. So they'll be like, yeah, all your meals are all-inclusive, but breakfast is only between I don't know if it was 7 a.m. to 10 or 10:30 a.m. and then they stopped serving food until lunchtime, which was 12 to 2 or something like that, and then dinner was between 6 and 8, or I may not be exactly, but it was 2 to 2.5 hours 3 times a day that you could go and you could eat. And that was included. The food was actually really good at my resort, and they had a good selection, a good variety, and they switched up the menu every day. It was really nice. I really liked it. And they also had this little section of local people food, which was very interesting, and I did enjoy that as well. Okay. They did have a place that you can go get food if it wasn't during the regular meal time, but I'm not sure. I don't think that was included. I think you had to pay extra for food if you went outside of the normal hours. That was my understanding. Number 8, the Maldives, the islands are Muslim. It's a Muslim country. So the reason this is important is because you can't just roll up on any beach in your bikini. It's illegal. But there's exceptions, of course. If you're going to your resort island, there shouldn't be a problem. Stay on your resort and you can be in your bikini all day long if you want. And the people are very nice who work there. At least on my resort they were. However, some people choose to go stay on an island where the local people live, and that's where you have to be more aware and more alert because, for example, on this one island where local people live, they have only one beach where you can wear your bathing suit, and it's called Bikini Beach. I think that's pretty important, so keep that in mind. All right, number 9. There is a ton of coral. I have never seen so much coral in my life. So be careful. You might want to wear certain footwear when you're trying to walk on the beach, because some of the beach is okay to walk on, but a lot of it is either hard like concrete or have tons of tiny little broken pieces of coral. They look like tiny little bones and they feel like you're walking on tiny little bones, which is kind of unreal to look at. And that's it. Those are my 9 things based on my experience of things you should know before traveling to the Maldives. Have you traveled to the Maldives? If so, is there anything you would like to add to this list? If not, are you planning on going to the Maldives? What do you think about this information that I presented to you? I hope it was helpful, and I hope you can follow me and I can continue providing value to you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again in another video, hopefully.